property that's rightfully theirs. And he's also talking about the sovereign wealth fund. He's talking about all the natural resources of the Bahamas. And somehow the people kind of like that. They are into that because they say that they've been getting robbed for so long and all kinds of stuff. And so as a result of it, they now believe that they should be having more, more. And so today we've got Lincoln being on the show because he leads in to the actual nomination on Thursday of this week. We don't know the exact times of these nominations, but we do know that it's going to be happening on Thursday. Apparently, the Ministry of, the Department of Registration has not yet done what they're supposed to do in making sure that everybody knows exactly what's going to happen, how it's going to happen, what's the rollout going to be like on nomination day. And we hope that it's not going to be very, very chaotic. And we're hoping that today, the people in charge of that parliamentary registration department, including Harrison Thompson, decides that he's going to make that release known immediately because got just a few hours now before that actually happens. You've got a big one. This is a big one. This is a big elections, my friend. Let no one fool you. This is big. And you've got all kinds of independents who are running, qualified independents who are running. You've got the COI who is running. You've got the people from the PLP who are running. And you've got all the people from the Free National Movement who's running. What has happened here is that most of these people are now beginning to gravitate toward this whole idea of immigration. They had missed the boat on that one. Lincoln Bean was the only person who had been talking about it. That's a fact. Everybody else kept their mouths shut. Michael Pintard was very, very quiet on it, and Brave Davis had nothing to say except a lot of things that people find did not make any sense. We don't have an immigration problem. We don't have a problem with this. We don't have a problem with that. And here it is. We have a major problem now because everybody is talking about all these passports that have been issued and all these passports that are now fraudulent, it seems. And people have been arrested. People at National Insurance, not the actual people who work for National Insurance, but individuals at National Insurance have been arrested. Some have gone to jail. All of these things have happened in the midst of this election campaign that is basically on a fraudulent timetable. That's what's actually happened. We have fraud, massive fraud in this country. And whether or not you believe it and you believe that that's just ridiculous, that's just hype, you stay right there because every Bahamian in this country have gone and they've gotten registered. That's an indication. That's an indicator as to what the people are thinking. When you see people come out in massive numbers to register, over 200,000 of people, the first time in many, many years, they've done this. First, they had 90,000, and they had 70,000, they had 60,000, and they had everything was going down. Now it's all of a sudden come up. You know why? Because Bahamians are now saying that, listen, we got to save this country. And that's because they believe that there's this foreign national who are here and they're trying to take over the country. And they've made no boons about it. They've actually said this. And they've said things like, we smarter than y'all. We know what we're doing. You all don't know what y'all doing. And they really got us. That's the truth. Because we apparently do not know what we're doing. We've got a bunch of constitutional illiterates in the parliament, as it were. And as a result of that, now we don't know where we really are. So they're riding on this crest, the PLP, the FNM, they're riding on this crest that the people will just go and vote, and they're hoping with all their fingers crossed and all their toes crossed that they're voting for me. But boy, the Bahamian people may have bad news for them. That's all I'm going to tell you. They may have bad news for them because in this particular cycle, the Lord God has this one. It's been left to him. It's been left to him. And he knows what is happening. He knows the darkness that we've been spreading. He knows the things that we've been doing. And he's going to either bless us or curse us. There's no two ways about it. He will put his blessing on us or he will curse us. That's why he sent a man. This man is now the new deliverer. His name is Lincoln Bain, whether you like it or not. And because he's Lincoln Bain, he's been sent. He picked a whole group of people. The first one who picked all these people to run in the election, they thought he was crazy because he picked them from long time. These people are seasoned people. These people are veteran people. These people they now know what's happening. They've learned the whole process, including how this situation happens with the voting. That's the story. That's why people are gung ho on the COI. It's not my fault that they are, but that's what's happened. Now, who do you blame for that? You have to blame Brave Davis for that. You've got to blame Michael Pintard for that. Brave Davis, in a way, because he's the one who has brought these people here to take the country. That's what they're saying. That's what everybody on the ground is saying. Reporters are saying it. Everyone is saying it. Then Michael Pintard is just as guilty simply because he never made a move to decide that, we better try, stop this thing and see how best we could. He just fooled around on it. Now he's coming back to talk about what he's going to do for immigration. It's too late. The boat has left the harbor. It's too late. They now have to go on what they have been saying all along, and they were not saying anything all along. And the people will judge them by that. That's just one thing. In many, many items, a dray load of items that they have to deal with. And that's what we are dealing with today. First and foremost, we want to welcome Mr. Lincoln Bain to the studios today. Lincoln, good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Good afternoon, my
How you
brother.
been, my friend?
I have been awesome, man. I
That's
wanna
good.
I wanna thank you for having me.
Yes, absolutely. My pleasure to have you. And we got you first because we know that it's going to be a very, very busy week. So on a Monday, you were here on a Monday to make sure that you can say what you have to say as you lead yourself and you lead the troops into this wonderful election period with nomination day on Thursday coming.
Yes.
But I've got so many questions for you, my friend, because you see, at this time, what we are looking at is all the many faults that happened within the Progressive Liberal Party. Many, many faults that has happened with them. And they got a number of things dead wrong.
Hmm.
And as them getting a number of things dead wrong, it means then that they are in a quandary. A
Hmm.
quandary because they have not paid a lot of people.
Hmm.
And I'm not talking about the people, the contractors. I want a contract. I'm not talking about just them. It's them too. But we're talking about people who have owed millions of dollars by this particular government. People don't really talk about that. People just say, well, that's the government business. They'll get that done. But they have owed millions of dollars. They still owe millions of dollars to
Hmm.
people who are waiting to be paid. They owe all the nurses. They owe all the doctors. They owe all the people in this country. And people have a way of holding that in and then expressing it later at the polls. These are things that they have to concentrate on. These are things that they have to consider. As a result of that, I want to talk today about what else is happening in the country, not only just immigration, but I want to talk about some other realities that are happening in our country today. And one of those things is just that the money problems of this country. Are we
Hmm.
broke? What do you think? Are we really in a bad situation, financially speaking, in this country that we're not able to pay our bills and do what we have to do? As a country, as a legitimate government of this country,
What we are is mismanaged, and that's the problem. What we are is mismanaged, and that's the major problem that we're having in this country. It's not that the country is broke. The country makes about $3.5 billion every year.
yes.
The problem is not how much money you make. The problem is always what you do with it. And I can tell you that both the FNM and PLP squanders the money that they make every single time. They use contracts to steal the money. I'm going to use a strong word
Hmm.
to steal the money from the Treasury. That's how they get the money from the Treasury. That $3.5 billion. So what doesn't go to salaries and general expenses goes to their pockets through the contracts. You've heard Dr. Minnis talk about this actually. And he said when he was first prime minister that about $500 million is taken, we lose it to corruption and stealing.
My lord.
Um, And he was talking about the contracts of the issue. Now he is saying that that figure is $1.4 billion with a B.
1.4 billion.
Yes, that's what he just said the other day.
Hmm.
And based on my research, that's about right. Based on my research, looking through Treasury documents, I've released Treasury documents, the government's bank account, etc., that they've never released to the public. I've released some of that on my live show. And so I can see what is going on. What they do, Steve, for example, a road contract should be $1 million, but they will put that same contract out for $10 million, for example. The 9 million is stolen. The million goes to the
Just like
contractor,
that.
and the rest of it goes to the politicians and whoever else. And that is why we don't have money in the country, because we're paying more than we should for every single line item. So you saw what they was going to do with until they were exposed with the bridge, the glass window bridge. It's a $10 million bridge,
Yes, we saw
roughly,
that.
and they were trying to sell it for 80 million, not sell it, bill it for $80 million. And so the 70 million was going to be stolen. And that's why we're in a serious situation. I just saw a news article and I investigated and saw that it was true that the government owed some $25 million on a building in West Grand Bahama. That's the building that took some 15 years to build. Um, the contractor got the money. The contractor is a convicted drug dealer. All right. Those kinds of persons should not get contracts because now the government is participating in money laundering. All right. And I think that America is concerned about these kinds of transactions.
Hmm.
All right. I can almost assure you of that. And so when drug dealers start getting contracts to build government buildings and build government homes, that's when your country has gone to the dogs. When people with other illegal businesses are legalized because of corruption, and now they are building government buildings and renting buildings to the government, your country is in a downward spiral. This is not the country that our grandparents would have
No,
been proud
sir.
of.
No, sir.
This is not it. And so now you have those persons running for office. That's a problem in our society. What are you giving our children to look at? And so I looked at that, and so the government was embarrassed, and so they paid off a lot of it, and so they're now having arguments about the cost of it. Because remember, after a lawsuit, you have this process to determine costs,
Mhm.
and you remember that with my situation,
Right.
everyone was
Yes.
trying to make it look like I was avoiding something, and so they have to go through the process with costs, and so that's where they are now. But to have situations where a convicted drug dealer is benefiting from our taxpayer money is problematic in the Bahamas. And that's where we've come to. But anyway, that was just another example of the government owing everybody everywhere you look. And it's because they steal so much of the money to give contracts to their cronies, and their cronies give them a piece of the pie. That is why we don't have what we need. But actually, we have more than $3.5 billion.
We have more than we
There
need,
are
but
not many
it's not
international
properly managed.
companies making
It's,
that kind of money.
yeah.
And so we have more than we need. We just need to manage it properly and get rid of the FNM and PLP who has been stealing it. Because both of them have been guilty of these kinds of transactions. The FNM, I could sit here all day and tell you about the previous FNM that Pintard is now leading that did the same things. All right. This has continued under both of them, and we are going to stop this. And so, just that alone, based on Minister's numbers, gives us $1.4 billion that we can now do things with. That's your hospital. That's several cruise ships if you want to go into that business. That's whatever you need.
We can rebuild the country and reset the country
Yes.
with the kind of things that because we're saving so much money and we're not overspending and we're not
Yes.
looking over the cronies, we're not looking over those things. So there's money in the place, but the monies have been mismanaged, stolen, and everything else. That's what you're
Yes,
saying.
that is what the problem is in this country. And this is what we got to fix. This is what we have to fix. Because I want you to understand that that stolen money alone, I want you to listen carefully, and I want all Bahamians to listen to this carefully. That stolen money alone, that's stolen through the contracts. Minister says it's 1.4 billion a year. He was there, he knows. And they participated in that. That's $7 billion in one term.
My Lord.
One government term, that's $7 billion gone. You remember a few years ago, a Swiss bank had to give some evidence, and they said that there was $8 billion sitting in that one bank's account to Bahamian passports. That's these politicians and oligarchs who've been robbing us. That's $8 billion. That's one bank, not the hundreds of banks that is there, not Cayman Islands, Virgin Islands, not these other places they hide money. That's one bank. And so that's where the $1.4 billion per year.
So now that we're looking at all of those kinds of things, is there any way that a COI government can reap the benefits of those things that have been overspent, mismanaged, and all that kind of stuff? Is there any way that the whole thing could be recalled, recouped, and make better use of it? Or it's just gone and that's it?
Yes, we just need a different culture, man. It's not working right now with the PLP and FNM and their culture. We need to put people there who want to build a country instead of building themselves first. Build the country first, and then the people are going to say, thank you so much. We appreciate you.
You think the people right now are happy with the way things are right now? Because everybody,
on the street, everyone is
talking.
Everyone is tired. But you asked me a question. You said if we can reap this, when we get in, we're going to stop the pilferage.
Yes.
All right? I'll give you a raw example. I know this is your friend, but this is an example. All right? And he understands it because it's been all over the news. Leslie Miller and other PLP MPs got monies from our Bank of the Bahamas, for example.
Yes.
He owes them $30 million now, right? The PLP government did a trick, the crime of the century. They took $100 million of Leslie Miller and other MPs' debt, including O.B. Wilskam, etc., and they put it in a new fake company called Resolve, so that the debt was off of Bank of the Bahamas books.
Was on the Resolve books.
But in order for it to be on the Resolve books, they had to take the money from NIB to do that.
My Lord.
And NIB contributed $100 million
That's why they ain't got no money
Resolve.
right now.
And then, as a result of that happening, our NIB has been increased. It's going to increase again in July.
Yes.
And it's going to increase and increase and increase until it reaches 25% of your salary. Because of people like Leslie Miller then. I have to speak strongly because these people are still out there speaking as if they have some kind of integrity or they have some righteous indignation. These are the people that are destroying this country. It's not just him. I just gave that example because people can easily identify. These are the people you should not have on radio shows and TV shows, etc. They should be lost in jail somewhere, to be honest with you. These are strong words. I'm not saying this I'm not saying this. I want the public to hear this. I'm not saying this to attack anyone, But the reason our country is failing is because of what they are doing.
Yes.
How can we accept $30 million going to one man, and other men to a total of 100 million and more? And then we have to pay that back? We can't get our NIB on time?
We got to use NIB to facilitate the payment of that $100 million to just because somebody made a mistake and they decide to put it in Resolve, that company that has nothing happened with it. And there's no other, they wanted to take it off the books of the Bank of the Bahamas. Now they did that, but all they're doing is playing trickery because that's all it is.
Yes. And so they're
using the people money twice.
Right. And so the country, the police officers won't get their raises. Teachers are owed, nurses are owed, civil servants are owed because the government is taking money through contracts, in my opinion. Okay? And here is where the kicker is. This is the biggest issue, my brother. The biggest issue is that we can see that the government owes everyone. Nothing is happening. Everything is on stall. Everything is on stop.
Yeah, everything is on stop.
Right? And everyone is owed. That's a sign that the government is broken and about to collapse. So for them to say, give them another chance, that's a problem. One, because see, when you're owed, and they don't just owe Bahamians, they owe the IMF, the IDB, international organizations. Now, what happens is when you change the government, they're willing to give the new government some time to get things together. That's what happened when Minis left.
Yes.
He called it
Brave
early
came in,
because
right.
of the debt that was coming.
Right. The
And
headwinds. You call them
yes,
the
the
headwinds.
headwinds.
The headwinds were coming his way.
And they gave Brave some time to catch up because it was the downturn. All right, not the downturn,
The COVID.
the COVID
Yeah.
situation that was going on, and so automatically everything was going to go back up. Whether no matter what they did, we didn't need Brave them to do anything. Automatically,
It's gonna
everything was
swing
locked
back
down,
to it.
and now once everything opens, it swings back up.
Yeah.
And so that's the problem. Now here's the bigger issue. In order to recover, they right after election, and this is why they called an early election. So I want you to pay attention to this. They called an early election, even though they chastised Minis for calling an early election.
Yes.
They chastised him. So they are calling an early election. They don't have to call election actually legally until next January.
I know.
All right. They call an early election because they have already been told that they have to bring income tax. I want every Bahamian under the sound of my voice to listen to me.
Yes. I'm listening.
Because if you vote for it, when it comes in the next budget, don't cry. Because you voted for it. Everyone wearing a yellow or blue and red shirt, I don't want you to cry because you were warned. If you let the F&M or PLP get back in, because income tax is next. The other taxes aren't going anywhere. It's just that at least 25% of your salary is going to come out before it touches you.
My Lord.
And so in a few years, NIB is going to raise to 25% of your salary. They've already announced that. Every 2 years, it's going to raise until it's 25% of your salary. So 50% of your salary is going to come out.
Going to government.
1, to income tax, and 2, to NIB alone. Then the 50% you have left, every time you spend that, you pay VAT. VAT is going to be increased.
They're taxing the Bahamian people.
Yes,
out of
to pay for
business.
their pilferage. Now, this is the other warning. And so you can choose to vote for PLP and F&M. That's your choice. But just know to not cry when you get the results. This is a warning, Bahamas, that if you put them in, VAT is going to be increased immediately to 15%. And by the end of their term, VAT is going to be 20%. So of the 50% left of your salary, every time you spend out of that, 20% of it is going to go to VAT. Firstly, it's going to go up to 15% and then 20%. You have been warned.
So this whole thing is a scam now that VAT is no longer, it's down and we don't have to pay no VAT and all that kind of.
They put VAT down to 10%, Steve, yes. Right? But you can put VAT down when the cost of everything goes up. All right? So they didn't help you. All right? And they put VAT down on things that you don't buy every day, but it's up on things you buy every day.
Yes, sir.
Like medicine,
yes, sir.
Food, and everything you use, feminine products. There's a guarantee you're going to use those things. And so they made more in VAT and they bragged about that. And people didn't pay attention. And so we need a different direction for this country. What countries that went from developing nation to developed nations did was simple. They realized that you can't get to where you need to get by taxing your people. I've now listened to the visions of the F&M and the PLP. We just hear them trying to copy certain things that we've said. It was shocking that I announced that we're going to do a national lottery. And 9 o'clock that night, Pintard comes out and said they won a national lottery. And so everything you hear me says that he thinks is resonating, they just copy it. But they're not going to do anything to benefit the people. We know their track record, all of them. And so we need to go in a different direction, Steve. Taxing is not it. Nothing that they have said in their plans that you've heard,
yes, and I've been
takes
listening.
This country forward. There's nothing new. Everything is just band-aids, solutions.
Yeah.
When you're having a heart attack, when you have a broken leg, they're going to put a band-aid on you.
Yeah.
We have to fix this country. So we have to go in a different direction where we're making money outside of taxes. You saw Dubai, they opened companies, tourism companies, and now their country is making money. It's not from oil. People think it's from oil. No, less than 1% of their income is from oil. Most of their income is from tourism and trade. Most of it is trade because they are a hub in that region.
Yes.
We can be a hub in this region because of Grand Bahama and the free port there. And we have a plan to do that. We're going to make so much money from being in the mouth of America that's going to blow your mind. We have real plans for that. So people only talk about the natural resources, etc. Our biggest thing is not the natural resources. Our biggest thing is the businesses that we're going to go in as a country, not run by the government, run by private professionals, just like they do in Dubai, Qatar, and these other countries, just like they did in Singapore. They made all of their citizens wealthy. Every single one has $1 million in the bank. Everyone, they're citizens. And they did that with no natural resources. They just made sure that their people benefit from everything they do. Why is that too much to ask? That's all we're saying to the Bahamian people. And I want to say to Bahamians who are wearing yellow or blue or red shirts, it's not just your children that's going to suffer, it's you that's going to suffer. I spoke to a lawyer today who spoke to the wife of LH.
Yes.
I want to say condolences to LH's family.
Me too.
He's passed away. He was a rival, a good rival.
He was.
He was a champion for his party, and um, I just want to say that the information that I received today was sad. He died of a heart attack. I was told.
Yes, that was true.
He went to doctor's hospital, paid $3,000 down payment to be able to be seen. They told him that's not enough. You need a credit card with $20,000 on it for them to take him in, see him. They were arguing, trying to get it done. We have to 3,000. Y'all, please see him. He was telling them, "I'm not feeling good. Y'all, please don't let me die here. I don't feel good. I'm doing really bad." And he sat there. They told him, "You have to get an ambulance." He has to call an ambulance and go to PMH. He did not want to go to PMH. And this is someone who's a champion for the government, the party, the governing party. Sad. When Bahamians are afraid to go to PMH, even the ones who are fighting for things to remain the same, I want you to understand that someone talking to LH might have told them, you keep fighting for this party. There's no hospital, there's no proper health care. Your children are going to pay. But it wasn't his children, it was him. And I'm saddened because he's my fellow Bahamian. Despite what party he was a part
He was
of,
my friend as well.
I don't think that
We knew each other in the
any,
neighborhood.
yeah, we were always cordial with each other. I don't think that any Bahamian should have to go through that in this country. And those in the PLP and F&M, none of whom built a hospital, none of whom gave us good health care, even when they had doctors as ministers of health all this time. If you continue to fight for failure, you're going to get what you deserve. You're going to get exactly what you're fighting for. And so that's a sad
This is a
situation.
side note in the news today.
And why it's so
Yeah.
sad also is because the mother of a previous prime minister, Ingram, died of a heart attack sitting in the hospital just like that, waiting to be seen. The mother of Hubert Alexander Ingram died. You are in position to change that so no one else goes through that. And you did nothing. The money they are stealing every year from this country can give us a world-class hospital. In fact, it can give us free healthcare because according to them, we only need 500 million a year to give every single Bahamian free healthcare, catastrophic healthcare. I mean,
Yes.
anything wrong with you, surgery,
Mhm.
anything,
Mhm.
it only takes 500 million.
I think Michael them tried to announce that last night at their rally, but or not their rally, their
The
layout.
F&M was the ones
Yeah.
fighting against this. I
Mhm.
don't want people to be fooled by them. They're saying anything that they believe that will stick.
No, but you already established the fact that
Yes.
he hear you say something, he goes back
Yeah.
and said it, but it's not really explained. You see, you can say things in snippets. Things are sounding good in snippets. Anybody could just give a little quick snippet to him, snippet to him. It sounds like something, but really, when you look at the whole thing and investigate it, pretty much like this immigration thing, this thing called the Shield. Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but when you look at it and you pull it down and pull it apart, you see that it's based upon the Nationality Act, and so it can't go
Mhm.
nowhere. What are you talking
Not
about?
only that, but there's nothing in there that talks about arresting these people, rounding them up, and taking them out of this country. Illegal immigrants, that
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
Nothing in there. In Shield talks about that. And it's intentional. All right? And I'm going to make this clear to you. Don't trust the F&M on immigration. They're going to be worse than the BLP. I'll make a strong statement on that. Because Fred Smith and Pintard and Louis Georges was fighting together to make sure that illegals couldn't be arrested and brought to justice, taken out of this country, that shanty towns couldn't be broken down. Pintard was right there fighting with them. And people have a short memory. All right? And so that's why you hear him making statements like, oh, if you enter this country illegally, there will be no path to citizenship. What are you talking about? That's already the law. What do you mean there'll be no path to citizenship? That's the law already.
Yeah, he's quoting the law.
So, so there'll be a path to permanent residency, a path to work permit. What's that part to? Well, I'll say if you enter this country illegally, you will be arrested. You'll be sent to jail. You will be sentenced to hard labor, and you will bill our schools. You will bill our clinics. You will bill our government offices. Since you want to come here for work to do, we're going to give you work to do. And when you finish your sentence, then you will go home, never to return. If you come back, you will get a longer sentence. We can't play with this. But you see the F&M making those vague statements. And then he says, "Oh, we're going to get to do a national lottery," but because he doesn't want to attract a fight with the number men,
Yeah.
he said, "Oh, but it won't
It
affect
won't.
them."
It won't affect them. It'll be a private thing, but we'll do it the private way. See, it needs explanation. So, what are you questioning now and say, what is this thing that you're talking about? How do you explain that? Did you put anything on writing and say that this is how it can be explained in the short term? See, the people must not be fooled by these empty promises.
Hmm.
Nobody must fool the people by these empty promises. And that's one of the reasons why I want to ask you again. I hear you saying that it's not only about what you're planning on doing with getting businesses like Dubai and all that in the Bahamas so that people can, in fact, enjoy what they're doing and profit on businesses, but there's this thing that I have in my head that there's also where you have said on numerous occasions, but listen, you're looking at a um, sovereign wealth fund. You're looking at the natural resources of this country. Is that now second fiddle, or is that still a top priority
That's a top
on
priority.
the
That's gonna
government? I want you to explain that
that's
because
a
people may have
huge
gotten the same information I got when I said that.
right. So
So
that's
please
gonna
explain
fund
that.
a lot of what we're doing. All right, there are
Mhm.
carbon credits. All right, the seagrass alone is worth 156 billion. That's not the mangroves.
Yeah,
That's not the
I understand
forest
that.
that we're
Hmm.
driving past. We have certain rocks that pull carbon from the air. All right, and so we can get that 156 billion easily. All right, and so the government right now is working on getting the 11.34 billion. They have ships out there now measuring our seagrass. But the problem is, if the PLP or F&M wins, they're going to take that. The PLP is trying to take that now and put it in their private companies. All right.
Jeez.
I showed everyone the documentation to where
Mhm.
the company was formed in the name of Anthony Ferguson and another woman who works in his office. All right. It's supposed to be a government thing. What is that? And so, no,
It's simply sharing up the money.
yeah. And so So that's $11.34 billion. And they know Bahamians won't do nothing. We won't complain. We won't say anything. We say, oh, what you could do? I just ain't gonna vote no more. Let them take the $11 billion. And that's what the plot is right now. That $11 billion could rebuild the Bahamas. They're not talking about it anymore. Remember, all they're talking about was carbon credits.
Yes.
They're not talking anymore. They're gone quiet, and no one knows what they're doing. And once they finish measuring the seagrass, they're going to get access to that money. That's our money, Steve. That should go to putting a check in the hands of every single Bahamian. Every Bahamian. That's almost enough right there to give every Bahamian $100,000. That's just a couple dollars short. And so that's enough right there to build us proper hospitals on several islands. That's enough right there to make sure we have ambulances and fire trucks and everything else we need. We can transform this entire nation with that. But they're trying to keep it for
But you,
themselves.
but see, that's you. You want to, you willing to work. You're trying to work to get this thing right.
Yes.
But you have to have a spirit of work. People need to be around the government who wants to really work and get things done because we need to reset this country in a big way. I don't know how it's going to happen. And I'm praying that we should, in fact, be okay with this particular election. Now, some people have said to me, that's pipe dream that you believe that these fellows could win. I had some guests here yesterday on the show, and they were all basically saying things like, well, he may win 2 seats, he may do this, he may do that. Nobody knows what God's plans are, but I do know that Lincoln Bain has been sent to help to deliver this country. Even if he does not do it, the fact is the seed has been planted and the people's eyes have been so open now that they can't fool the people no more with anything.
Hmm.
And plus, they've been turned off from these two political parties that have been dominating the scene for the last 54 years. And so, one of the big things that has happened here is that I believe that there are people who've been sent. I believe that there are people who are in that particular party that you got the COI, who are the people who are supposed to make the way to make this thing happen. And I really believe that. And there are many people like me who believe that. There are some who say, well, you're talking fool. That can't happen because these guys got all this money, this thing got that, this all that. That's man's plan. Man's plan is a good plan by them. But when it comes to God's plan for a nation that has lost its moral footing, a nation that is just gambling and looking for women at nighttime with these slack bars and stuff that they have, and doing things that are ungodly, simply ungodly. We have to look at what this nation is. And the truth is, this nation is very, very lost. We don't even appreciate and worship and give thanks to God anymore. Something is very, very wrong. And I don't mean to sound like a preacher. What I'm saying to you is that these things need to be considered because there's also the moral decay. The moral decay of our country is sickening. And it makes us all wonder, what are we dealing with? All of the older people, okay, including myself, who are getting on in age and doing other things. We look back the last 20, 25 years, the last 50 years, and we can say to you, this country has lost its moral compass. We don't know what we're doing anymore. Everything buck up goes, and that's wrong. The police force is wrong. The police force doesn't even pay attention to fellows who are driving around without helmets. We have to have rules and laws in this country. Again, it's lawless in the Bahamas.
Yeah. No one, Steve, thought that. I'll go back to the first thing you were talking about. No one thought that the PLP could win in 1967. No
No.
one.
Mhm.
They were broke. They were nobodies. We know them today, but in their time, they were nobodies. All right? Even though a couple of them had law degrees, but they never did any law. They never had any law
No,
practice. Right? That's
that's correct.
just, they just went to school.
Mhm.
And But they won. No one thought that Ingram could win. They were saying all manner of things about him. They were saying he was a drunkard. He couldn't speak English properly, and he was uneducated. He only had up to high school level of
That's what they
education.
said.
They
They
said all
said
manner
so.
of things.
I
It's
know.
impossible. He can't win. And But guess what? He won. We're not concerned about doing this because we think we can win, Steve. We're not doing this because we think we can win. We're doing this because we think that this is the right thing to do. We believe and we know that this is the right thing to do. We have to give the people a choice because the politicians in the FNM and PLP have been failing us. Where's Pintad going? What's his track record in the ministry? In any ministry that he's run? What's his track record of in the government of standing up for the people against his own government? When they were doing all of the crimes against humanity that they were doing in the FNM, no serious Bahamian should even be considering putting the FNM back in power. Yes, we know you had Dorian, but it's not about Dorian. It's about how you treated us during Dorian.
Very true.
It's about the fact that you hid our
And that's a lasting
building
effect.
supplies.
That's a
It's
lasting
about
effect.
you kept the Bahamians' bodies in the trailers because your benefactors own insurance companies, so you didn't want a proper count. It's because you hid our billing supplies because your benefactors own billing supply companies, and you felt that if the donations got to the people, that your people would lose opportunities. That's wrong.
Hello.
They've always been working for the few. And so it's shocking that they would come with this slogan that reminds us the truth. They could say whatever they want. We work for you and not the few. We all know who they work for, and it's the few. It always happens. And so we need real change. It's not whether you feel we could win 2 seats or 3 seats or how much ever seats you think that we should win. The PLP did not get the majority of the vote in 1967.
They did an 1818 tie.
Yeah, they got in terms of the number of votes, the UBP got just over 19,000 votes.
Mhm.
The PLP got just over 18,000 votes. The third party, which was the Labour Party, and the Independents got 3,300 and 2,300 votes. That means the vast majority of people voted against the PLP, but they still won. You see, when it's time for change, nothing else matters,
Yeah. It's
when
time
it's
to
time for
change.
change. You might remember, you should be a student of history. Ingram actually wasn't winning in the North Abaco in 1992.
Yes, sir.
Ingram was actually losing. When the PLP realized that the FNM had won or was winning, the count wasn't finished in Abaco.
I remember that.
Yes, the PLP actually didn't want to have to deal with staunch FNMs being the leader and being the prime minister. Those old boys. So they said, you know, we'd rather deal with Ingram. Let's just make a deal. Y'all stop the count in North Abaco,
Yeah.
and let's just give it to Ingram.
Yeah. But
So a PLP
they
could
were
get in there.
dependent too that England was our boy voice.
Yes. And so they didn't want to have to deal with
Yeah.
Oval Turnquest or any of them other
Exactly. That's the
staunch
hardcore. Yeah,
FNM
no,
boys.
I understand.
And so they actually gave it to Ingram. So even though it was almost impossible for Ingram to win, he still won, even though he didn't get the majority of the vote. People forget their history. When it's time for change, it's time for change. And we're not doing this because we want to run. We're not doing this because we want to be prime minister or MPs. We're doing this because our country is in trouble.
Yeah,
We've never
we need
been
the
to
help.
this desperate state
We need the
ever.
help. There's no question about it. You look
And
left and you look right and you see the same thing and you say, what are we dealing with? Why can't these people understand?
nothing works.
But you see, the good thing now is that Lincoln being that you got more than 200 plus thousand people who voted. Last count I got, it was like 200,800 and 2,840 people. That's 200,840 people who were basically ready to vote. And that's what they had the numbers going into the last 2 days
Mm.
after the holiday on that Monday and the last 2 days. So they would have accumulated a number of other votes because people didn't vote right up until that night.
Yeah.
So
They registered up until that
registered.
night,
That's what I'm saying.
which was illegal actually. The register is supposed to
Yeah,
stop
right after
on.
right after the parliament.
No, it stops right after, but only persons who registered up to the day before would count.
Right.
That's the law.
Mhm.
And so they continued until 8. You know why? Most Bahamians were already registered. All right? Only mostly the immigrants who got passports are the ones registering, the majority of people registering.
I see.
There were some Bahamians who needed to transfer, but most Bahamians still vote where they was living
But
before.
I take it from you because you would know.
Yeah.
Because you were part of the system.
They
right now.
left that open so that the immigrants would have time to come in. Bahamians were being turned away. Bahamians were being asked for all manner of things.
They made it a living hell.
They made it hell for Bahamians to qualify. All right. And so we got to do something.
Anyway, I'm going to run to a break. It is right now 5 minutes past 6 o'clock in the afternoon. This is the Monday, and we're on with Lincoln Bean. Lincoln Bean is live today, and we've got these machines just going crazy today. Everything is just blinking because of all the people online trying to get in on the show. We can try to read some of them for you today, but of
That's
course,
actually my text, my
yeah,
WhatsApp text. That's how
yeah,
much text I get
yeah,
constantly.
constantly
I just
coming
want to
back.
tell my followers that a lot of people say, well, we text you and we can't get you. I have right now, to be honest with you, I have over 207,920 missed WhatsApp.
Wow,
That's how much WhatsApp I am get.
that's almost the winning numbers.
And so if you see you didn't get me, please,
Yeah.
please bear with me. There's a lot.
Okay. 6 minutes past 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Let's run to the break. Let's pay some bills, and we'll come back in a minute. When you see it talks, everybody listen. The government does move quick. Every day you got this, them on hard.
Okay, everyone, we're gonna go to commercial break. When we come back, we're actually gonna talk some more. We got some stuff to talk about. Please make sure you're here for this. Um, I need to talk more about Sabas and the situation, and also the government has decided to victimize one of our candidates, and they are threatening him, trying to get him to back down. All right, and so I'm going to talk about that when we come back, because it's unlawful what they are trying to do, but we're not afraid. We're going to come for them when they come for us. And so when you think that you could use your bully tactics on us, we're coming back at you harder than you could even imagine. Just wait for it. You'll know every time y'all come for us, we come back. When you come for us, we coming for yours. We'll be right back. So the mic is going to be on mute until we finish the commercial break. Okay. So see y'all in a couple of seconds. Don't go nowhere. Y'all gotta hear this one. Commercial break. For those still on here, we'll um we'll be back in we'll be back in a sec. Okay,
1 minute, yeah.
1 minute more.
Sixteen minutes past 6 o'clock in the afternoon. And yes, we're on with Lincoln Bean today. Lincoln Bean is here because he's getting all set, like many others, for that big nomination day that's going to happen on Thursday of this week. And everybody's looking forward to that. Those who will win, those who will not win, everyone is looking forward to that because they all think that they are going to win and win big. Well, we're here with Lincoln Bean, as I said, and today on the show, we've been talking for the most part about all the contracts and everything else that's been going wrong within this particular PLP administration at this particular time. And they are under the gun, friends. The PLPs are under the gun because they have a lot of little frictions and things that are happening and it's not looking the best, but they believe that it's looking the best. In fact, they're saying things like they had such a wonderful audience on Saturday night pass and they had their rally, and it was a good rally. They had a massive amount of people. We couldn't tell who they were, but the fact is that they did have a good rally. So the showing was good. I don't know what's going to happen at the end of the day, but many people were not impressed at all in the public. There's many people in the public. Some PLPs were impressed, but it was kind of like a dull evening for them simply because they had lost their man, LH, um, earlier. and he died from a heart attack, as you heard Lincoln say earlier. And it's not a good situation. So that was a kind of mixed reaction kind of thing, but they still had the rally, and they still had their way at that particular time. Many of them were just talking about change and not change. They're talking about progress and progress and progress, but they didn't really elaborate on what this progress thing was. And so, so some of us who were looking in for the first time, we saw it. We were like impressed with the crowd, but we were like, "What this whole thing with progress is? What is that all about?" But I suppose that will be further explained to the Bahamian people later on. Lincoln Being, you're here with us today, and that means because you're here, there's some other issues that we've got to talk about, more so than immigration. We've got to talk immigration today, I know, but of course, there's some other things that we have to talk about as well, and that is the fact that there's great victimization that's been happening in the Bahamas, and I understand that a lot of things have been happening right now with even your particular party at this particular time. What say you on this whole idea of victimization? And people though, people Lincoln Bean are very afraid, People are sometimes thinking that boy, um, I scared to say this and I scared to say that. But do you find now that people are now getting away from that because they really want to see change? And do you find now that people are now relaxing themselves and saying, we going for this and we going for this? What do you find now? And talk to me about this victimization thing.
Yeah, man. Change doesn't happen until the people put their personal advantage or personal preservation aside and decide that they're going to do whatever it takes to save the country. When you see the people get so fed up that they don't care about your victimization,
Hmm.
um, when you see that happens, that's when change happens. When they say, listen, kill me,
Mhm.
beat me, do whatever you want to do, but change is going to come.
Yeah.
When the people are willing to sacrifice themselves, like we've been doing for many years,
Mhm.
but when that momentum hits the people, change is here. And so I want to tell everyone out there, don't worry about victimization. Come on, man, just vote them out. Just get rid of the PLP and FNM. They've been victimizing for many years. When the PLP is in, the PLPs eat. When the FNM is in, the FNMs eat. And they do it that way to keep their people under control, so that they can tell you, listen, if we lose the election, you can lose your job.
Hmm.
And so they are working together to do that to their own people to make sure that they could keep the control and keep you as slaves fighting for the little crumb contracts. But I spoke to Deputy Commissioner of Police today. I happened to be sitting with one of my candidates, and they were harassing him and telling him he has to resign or they're going to fire him or he can stand down. He can't go and try to get nominated on Thursday because he is a reserve police officer,
Hmm.
right? That is not the law.
But he's a
They had
reserve.
called him about that last year when he was nominated,
Yes. Mhm.
and he read the law to them. And it's a PLP, deputy commissioner of police. It's a cops role, all
Oh, I
right.
see. Okay.
And so he's a hard PLP, and
Mhm.
so I guess they're using him for their purposes. Um, I don't know cops to be a bad person, but I know him to be a staunch PLP who will do whatever they tell him. And so when we dealt with that last year, sometime, I spoke to cops myself at the time, and I said, "Cops, here's the law," and I gave him the law from the Constitution, and he said, "Yeah, okay, it's clear as day. I see it." And now uh, today, they started to ring the officer's phone off the hook. This reserve officer, he's actually a teacher. He teaches at Temple Christian, all right, or is that Faith? Yeah, it's Temple Christian. He is a teacher. He teaches music and I guess sports, and to give back to his country because you can't complain about something if you don't do something.
Mhm.
To help with the crime problem, he decided to become a reserve police officer. All right, know you're limited to how much hours you can work, and you know what a reserve is. That's
Yes,
a
of course, of
civilian
course. Yeah.
who's just
Mhm.
assisting the police.
Understood.
All right, that's what a reserve is. And so the law states who cannot run for election. All right, and it's in Article 6. All right, it says qualification and disqualification for membership of the House of Assembly. It talks about it, right? And it says no person shall be qualified to be so elected or so serve if he is, and there's the list, a judge of the Supreme Court or the Court of Appeal, a substantive public officer, a acting or someone acting temporarily as a public officer for a period exceeding 3 months. D, a member of any of the armed forces of the crown. Otherwise than, so there's exception, right? So if you're in the armed forces of the crown, you're disqualified. But it says otherwise than. That's very common sense. Otherwise than in time of war or emergency, or otherwise than as a member of the reserve of any such forces. So obviously, it says if you're a member of the armed forces, you can't run. But it says an exception is for the reserve of any of those forces. That's clear, right?
Yes, it is.
Can you get any clearer than that?
No.
And so first he read it to Hewlett and Hannah. Hewlett and Hannah said, "Oh, you got to deal with them with that. We just get instructions." And so he had to speak to Corp's Rule. And Corp's Rule, the deputy commissioner of police, uh, pretended as if we didn't have this conversation last year. Pretended as if he didn't know what the law was. He said, "Send me the law right now." And so we sent it to him. And he said, "Yeah, I got to call whoever you got to call." He said, "Rogers or whatever." And so we're waiting, still waiting. But they sent him a text back saying, "We don't care. You have to resign, or we can fire you." And so his thing to Corp's Rule was, "So you're just gonna disregard the law? You're just gonna disregard the law in my rights and my freedom of association as a teacher in this country who is just a reserve police means you're just assisting the police?" And the law clearly states that a member of the reserve of any of those forces is exempt from that because they're really civilians. And so he asked him, "So you're just gonna ignore the law?" And basically, Cops is saying, "Hey, it's doing what they tell me." So that means that's a political attack in the police force that should be independent of any political interference. And so, Corp's Rule, you are out of order. To tell a man that you don't care, you're going to break the law for your political party. That's not how he worded it, but that's what he's doing. You're going to break the law. You don't care what the law say. That if he nominates on Thursday, they're going to fire him. That's a breach of his constitutional rights.
No question about it.
Steve,
No question
that
about
probably Brave Davis sent down to Shanta, and Shanta say, "Corps, go deal with that." Corps said, "You and Anna, you go deal with that." You then saw the law and say, "Boy,
They got to deal with that.
Go back to Corps." You and Anna turn into Pontius Pilate. Oh, I see the law. Oh, no, I ain't mess with that.
So let me ask you this question.
You and Anna is in charge of the reserves, by the way.
I know. I want to know, where is this gentleman planning to run?
He's running in Baintown against the Haitian gentleman. And so I guess they're trying to make it easy for this fellow to get in the House of Assembly. Wade Watson is very unpopular in Baintown right now.
I know he is.
And he is running against this Haitian gentleman. They seem to be pumping a lot of effort, money, and everything else into this Haitian gentleman because they want to make a statement. They want to make a paradigm shift by getting someone who was born here to two Haitian parents, probably illegal parents, to sit publicly in the House of Assembly. And we've had prime ministers whose mother were Haitians or whose parents were Haitian. Brave Davis talked about it. Pintard is in that situation. But we've had prime ministers also, others who were in that situation. But this is the first time it's going to be open. And now it's going to open the door. This is like It's like when they wanted to change the rules with gays and gay marriage, etc. All of a sudden, every TV show you saw started to have gay scenes. Every commercial started to have gay scenes in them
They were
because they
coming. They were
wanted to
taking you over.
desensitize you to
Yes.
it.
Yes.
You see? And that's the same thing they want to do now with this J. Philippe fella. All right. And they know that that's an area that has a lot of people just like him. And so they want to use that to now
That's that'll be the
shift,
yardstick. That'll
do a,
be the.
yes, the paradigm shift.
That's what it
All
is.
right. And you saw Ingram go there campaigning with him because Ingram is of Haitian descent also. All right. Hubert Ingram. And when you saw him go there campaigning with him, Ingram don't campaign with just anyone, only strategically. Remember, he campaigned with Dwayne Sands in 2021. He said that's the only one he campaigning with because Dwayne Sands is his man, at the time. And so we got to take this serious. But back to the police force, it is a shame. It is disgraceful when you have senior police officers who don't know the law.
Well, that's all the
And
bottom.
they are saying they don't care what the law
I
says.
know.
They don't care.
They're bigger than the law.
This was delivered to them. All right. And so uh, we have evidence of them telling him that they're going to disregard the law. And if he nominates, he's going to be fired.
So they don't want. They want it to be clear for the man, Gay Philippe, who's an F&M.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But the whole thing is bigger than that. It's
Mm-hmm.
bigger than just being
Mm-hmm.
F&M. It's the opening of the door for a new paradigm shift to happen within that particular network
Mm-hmm.
of people who they want to say, see, born on two parents, who is he? He's an MP, right? And he can want to what? See, that's what they want to do. And if they do that, the whole floodgates open again, all over again. I don't know what we are dealing with, but it's evil.
Mm-hmm.
Why come into a country if you cannot run and we got rules, we should obey the rules. But they're switching the rules as they go along. They're playing with the rules, tampering with the rules as we go along, just to get their means for what they want to happen. That's got to be wrong. You can't trust them. That's what it means, Why should you trust them? They're not worthy of any trust.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, trust is a very, very important thing, and a very serious thing,
It
To
is.
trust somebody is that you put your all into this and you trust me. You trust this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And this thing blow up in your face because you trusted him or you trusted her. And these people who are now, you're trusting them and they just ain't interested in what you're trusting. That's too bad for you.
Yeah.
And that is evil, That's
Yeah.
what that is,
Yeah. We have a police force that under this whole administration was controlled by this government. All the things that were being done.
My
Clayton
Lord.
Finanza was a puppet. And so it continues. This commissioner is very quiet about everything. We don't hear any plans. We don't see nothing. I mean, just like they don't exist.
Sorry.
And so we have to do something about this, Steve. And so I want everyone out there to watch and see. I just read the law off to you, and we gave it to them, and they are basically saying they're going to ignore the law and they're going to victimize this gentleman despite what the law says.
I hear what you're saying, and all I can caution them and say, listen here, we're watching you all. You all do that. And if this thing is that important to you all, and he is a person who could win, let him go and run. He's just running. Why interfere with that? Why you go to another team to say they can't run? You don't want this fellow to
Yeah, it's
have no
democracy.
competition. What you mean by that?
Well, anyway, guess what? You come for us, we coming for you. So just be warned. We are coming for you.
Hard copy, good afternoon. How you doing today? I'm sorry to have you holding so long.
To everybody and the patriots and to that young, handsome man who's ready to put on the tuxedo and go there. PNLD, I have a few things and I want to connect what you said about income tax. Income tax would destroy this country. We wouldn't be able to eat mud. Why I'm saying that, income tax, if I'm a wealthy person, what I can do, set up bogus companies to start paying income tax. Have these companies set up, nobody would check
That's what it is.
Because what's going to happen? The little man, his salary is going to be taxed. The little vice pay, his tax is going to be taxed. And they're going to find a way for the top people to be taxed. The real dirty people, the Rothschild, they are not going to be taxed because no one is going to be there to oversee that their taxes. They may say they own 10 companies, but not in reality. About the government collecting money, it is high time that the government collect money from all the money that is spent out of this country. In 1 year, Haiti, the residents here from one country, Haiti, transferred over $13 million out of the country, not including Cuba and all the other immigrants. If the government was collecting 5% for every dollar that was going out of the country, 13 million, 5% of 13 million from Haiti alone would have been 650,000. And another thing again, this election coming up, I want the Bahamian people to put this in the pipe and smoke it. This is it. The winner is going to get 27 to 29 seats or the whole damn pot. Then you're going to have 8 seats and 6 seats. This is it. God is tired and about that full-blown patient in Baytown. The Bahamian, watch it. The message is he's full-blown and he gets in there, other can go. So this is it. Sing Bahamian, win Bahamian, vote Bahamian. This is it. And thank you, Daddy Trump. Thank you. Herschel Walker, Daddy Trump, Lincoln Bed, CRA, Bahamian on nothing, 100%, no preservative, no additives. This is it. Bye, Radio Lab.
All the best. Good afternoon, caller. How are you?
Hi, good afternoon. I'm pressing it after you. Can I get on?
Yeah, you're on, but you got to turn your radio down.
Oh, let me turn maybe.
Uh, 6:35 is the time right now in the city. Yes, just talk to me. Go ahead, sir.
Okay. Hi, good afternoon. Steve, good afternoon, Mr. Again.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon.
This is a voter in Bamboo Town, Maria Dawson, COI Trump. I call in regards to piggyback on what you said about the gentleman Felipe. Now, on nomination day, what I need for you to do.
Don't put any suggestions or anything you want to, any suggestion you want us to do live on air. You don't want to alert persons, your enemy, to what you're going to do. That's very irresponsible. So don't worry about what we could do on nomination day or election day. And if you want to speak to us off air with any suggestions that you feel could help. All right? This war.
Hi, Coffee. How are you?
Good evening, Mr. Mckinney and President Bain.
Yes, sir.
I have 2 quick questions for you. The first one, should we register to vote in advance for President Bain?
Should do. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go again.
Should I have family that was registering for the advance poll? And I
Right.
just thought they would say, no. Wait for the regular. You actually go, not the advance poll. Don't vote in the advance poll.
How old is the person?
Would you recommend that?
How old is the
It
person?
was my mom. It was my mom.
Okay, so she's like in the 60s, that kind of thing, right?
Yeah, 70s.
Yeah. Okay, fine. So she could go into the advanced poll, you know.
Yes, my advice is if you don't right now,
No,
we're still
listen to advice. Go
we're
ahead.
still investigating certain things. But what they do is, and this is to where they were talking about when we did the press release revealing that SIB has the key to the vaults, etc. I want to let you know what they do with the advance poll is they keep the ballot boxes and keep police officers who are under their control, like a corporal, for examul.
Yes.
He's going to do whatever they tell him to do.
Mhm.
And so they keep it under the control of the police. That's what Minas did too. And so they're going to be able to put more votes in there.
Mhm.
Now, what happens is at the end of the night of the advance poll, they count all of the ballots. They don't say, they don't look at them to see who you voted for, but they count the total. And then they put everything in the envelope, put it in the box, and then they keep it in the control. It's supposed to be in the control of the parliamentary registrar, but last time they put it in control of police, and in the last by election, they put it in the control of the police because the police had the keys, the only keys to the vote. All right, the only keys to the vote. And if I'm wrong, Mr. Parliamentary Commissioner, sue me. I know what I'm saying. I don't say nothing unless I know it for a fact. All right? SIB had the keys to the vote. The Parliamentary Commissioner did not have keys to the vote. He had keys to another door that leads to the vote. All right? And so what they do is they can stuff as much as they want in there. And then on election day, general election day, what happens is you don't count the ballots. They just take it, open it, and pour it in the ballot box of one of the polling divisions. And so they could have added another 500 PLP votes there, and you would not be able to easily determine that they did that because they just pour it in with one of the polling boxes, and at the end of the day, it's stuffed. And you then see something like what happened in Pinewood, where one of the polling boxes had 105% of the vote. Another one had 92% of the vote. And all the others were like less than 50%, like mostly 40 something percent, etc. And that's odd. Even the parliamentary commissioners admitted to me that that's odd. All right. And it shouldn't be that way. So
Thank you.
so the fact that they can still stuff it means that we just need to make it too big to rig. All right. If you can help, if you don't have to vote in the advance poll, then vote in the general election because it's going to be harder for them to see. The real problem we're worrying about is them taking our votes out. Because notice what they did. Normally, the advance poll is a week before, but now they put it a week before that, and they put it on the 30th instead of on the 5th. All right, which is a week before. They put it on the 30th of April, and now they're going to have access to those advance polls for a whole
Week,
12
yeah.
days. No, almost 2 weeks.
Mhm.
And so now they can do whatever they want to that. And they can go in there, remove as much COI votes as they want, as much FNM votes as they want, and stuff it with PLP votes. You see? So that's where the problem comes in. So if you can help it, like if you're traveling or something like that, then okay, you have to vote in advance poll. If you're police, you're going to be working, etc. Okay, you have to vote in advance poll. But if you don't have to, then don't.
Vote in the general elections. Okay?
Thank you very much, Mr. Payne. I look forward to being first in line to vote for Tymoon Green in Marathon and Bahamas. I don't trust the police. We're in our advanced ballot box, so vote in your election. Thank you.
Yes. And now you saw when I revealed what the staff at the Parliamentary Registry Department had told me, and what the SIB officers had told me that they had the keys to the vault. Wayne Monroe responded to me. I mean, the response was just nonsensical. He said, Ingram said that Hubert Ingram says that you can't steal elections in the Bahamas. Total nonsense. And he said that what's the importance of the vote? That was his response. Now that someone has been arrested who gave out fake voters cards that are kept in the vault, Steve,
Yes.
that means someone had access to the vault.
Absolutely.
He's not the person in charge of this stuff, the one who's arrested. But when the vault is open and only SIB has the keys, other people walk in there. I spoke to a lady who worked there. They just transferred her because she was asking too much questions. They transferred her. And she said she was sent in there many times to go get counterfoils and other stuff. And so she had access, and other people have access because it stays open until SIB comes back to lock it. And so this is the kind of skullduggery that is going on.
This
And
is
we have to
pure
fix this.
skullduggery.
Yeah.
Too bad these things have not come out to the public's interest prior to
The media is bought out.
this.
You're not going to get real media in this country. All right. We had a article by the Tribune recently that talked about our 100-day plan. Now, they ain't talk about our 100-day plan for healthcare and all the other stuff, that those great ideas that we put out there. They wanted to put something out controversial because they only can cover me, and as on the front page, they only can cover me when it's something that they could twist into a negative light, or they may think will cause people to not vote for us.
Mm-hmm.
So you talk about the immigration plan. And what they did was they said, oh, Lincoln Bain said this, but the Constitution says this, or this is this is the reality. And they don't, when they do an article about Brave Davis, say, "Oh, Brave Davis said that," but this is what really the situation is. They don't do an article of
Don't
it print
try to
out like
pull you
that.
down.
So what they're doing is trying to discredit me
Mhm.
by having a reporter quote the law, a reporter with no college credits in law to say what the law is. They're saying that I am claiming that on day one, we're going to stop naturalization in this Bahamas. So I just want to make it clear. If you're in, you're in. All right. So if you're in and you didn't come in by paying off it, doing any fraud or whatever, if you're in, you're in. All right. But moving forward, there will be no more naturalizations. All right. Just to be
Exactly.
clear.
Exactly.
Just to be clear. So to the Haitian community that's terrified of us or whatever, we're talking about moving forward. All right. We're not talking about the past. We're talking about moving forward. All right. Now, there will be some audits for persons who are fraudulent, and you can't expect us to leave fraudulent persons without being corrected. And so, if if persons come into this country, I just have to segue there.
No, no. Go ahead.
If persons come into this country illegally, Steve, that's a problem. But if we are saying that we're going to correct this by stopping naturalizations, that's a solution. They should be for that. They said that the Constitution, we would have to have a referendum, and I should get some advice. I should get some legal advice, etc., etc. I got 105 in my constitutional law exam, more than 100%. It was considered almost impossible. They had to change the law exam because of me. I know constitutional law. And when I open my mouth and talk about things, you can see that I know the law. Now, um, the Constitution does give certain rights, right? But it actually, in section Article 13, says that any citizenship uh, situation, the Parliament can pass laws dealing with citizenship. They did that so that they could make changes to that without having to go to referendum. They put that in there. That's a caveat they put in there. As relates to citizenship, you can pass laws. So just so the Tribune reporter, who's not a lawyer, will understand, just keep reading. Don't stop right there. Like people who just quote scriptures.
Mhm.
Keep reading a little further, and you're gonna see that we can pass laws as it relates to citizenship. And we will pass laws as it relates to citizenship. We will. All right. On day one, the naturalization is going to stop.
That's it.
And I said later that year, then we will go to a
You
referendum.
did. Mhm.
Because by the end of the year, we want to go republic. All right. So we're gonna put everything in the referendum one time to clean up certain things. All right. Um, so someone asks if I'm a lawyer. No, I don't practice law. All right. I don't practice law. I studied law at Buckingham University. All right. I know the law. And in terms of practicing the law as an activist, I've done a lot. And you can hear when I open my mouth that I know this thing to a T. I'm a businessman. I never intended to practice law. I did it. I did law and law school for the knowledge. And it's paying off for the Bahamian people now, actually. And so that's what that was about. There are some people who are also concerned, Steve, about a statement I made with reference to when persons come to vote that they speak the Queen's English. What disturbs me more is that people don't have the understanding that I was speaking strongly, but I was facetious about the Queen's English. Obviously, we don't have a queen, there's a king. and obviously they know what I was meaning, that we want you to speak English. And they said you don't need to be able to speak English to vote. No, you don't. Of course, we know that. But when you come to vote, anything suspicious should cause the presiding officer um, and other officials or the agents to say, how did you get a passport? If you come there with an ID and the ID has something strange on it, let's say you come with a voter's card and it's the wrong color. Okay, that should cause us to raise suspicion. Why is that voter's card, the purple on that, off? Then that should cause us to say, let's look into this some more. All right. Let's say your date of birth was crossed off or whatever on it. That should cause us to look into this some more. Come right now. So if you come to vote with a passport and you cannot speak English, all right? I'm not talking about having an accent, etc. If you cannot speak English and you come to vote and you have a passport, you should not have that passport because the law says that in order to be naturalized, it's the law. You must speak English. It says it in the law. I can read it for you. So if the law says for you to become naturalized, you must speak English, but you have a passport, meaning you don't speak English, then you have a problem. So some people are saying there are some people who they were born in the Bahamas to illegal parents, and the legal parents went back and they went back with their parents, so they grew up speaking Creole. And so when they come back, they should have a right. No, 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 no. They don't have a right because the law says there's certain qualifications to become naturalized. There's other things that can disqualify you, like if you are of bad behavior, bad repute. All right, there's certain things there. So if you were arrested, etc., you have a criminal record, etc., they can reject you because there's qualifications. You don't have a right. There are qualifications. So if you had committed armed robbery while you were here and you want to get naturalized, they can tell you no. That's the law. Also, if you cannot speak English, they can tell you no. That's the law. It doesn't matter what your circumstances were, that why you learned Creole and not English. The criteria is you must speak sufficient English.
Absolutely.
And so don't let these people, and it's only PLPs doing this, which should show you their agenda. That's why you cannot vote for them. They're sending their trolls to go on social media to discourage the people. It don't matter what your circumstance is. If the law says you must speak English, then it don't matter that you was born here to illegal parents and you went, that's why you speaking that, but you have a right to be here. No, you have a right to be here. That's one qualification because you born here. All right, and that isn't an absolute right. But that could get you in the door. But if you can't speak English, boom, disqualified. You understand what I'm saying?
Gotcha. I got a call. I want to take this call and see what's happening. Good afternoon, caller. How are you?
Good afternoon, Lincoln. Good afternoon, Bahamas. Thank you for taking my call, Steve.
Yes, sir.
On the point that Lincoln just made, so the PLP expects us to believe that a Haitian child was born in the Bahamas and they've been living in Haiti all this time, even though the country has been turned into a living hell over the last 5 years. This person was sitting there on their thumb with a Bahamian birth certificate and didn't try to get out of that hellhole. No, that's not what happened. Louis them rang the bell in Haiti and said, listen, everybody who have any claim to Bahamian birthright, now is your time to come. They're coming. If you could believe that such a person exists, and I don't believe that any such person exists, if you had a right to be in the Bahamas, you would not have sat there all this time. Why is it now that they're just coming now that we have an election in the month? Right?
Very serious question.
I don't believe that.
Absolutely.
And the other concern I have, which Lincoln just spoke to briefly, is, I have not heard about any vetting of these people. I mean, we're probably letting in hardened criminals right out of the jails of Haiti. What is the vetting process?
There is none.
We we don't even know if these people are criminals. They, this is insane.
I think we know
And
that most of them are criminals. I think we know that.
What government would run a country that way? We don't know who they
An
are.
irresponsible government would run a country that way.
Listen, my brother, Donald Trump made a statement when we had Dorian. He didn't let someone other spokesperson do it. He did it. He stood up and he said that the Bahamas experienced Dorian. He said we love the Bahamian people. He said Bahamians are always welcome. He said, but the Bahamians are letting the Haitians come in their country, and they're letting them use that to come into America. And he said there are some bad people coming in from Haiti,
He did.
and he don't want those people in his country. Not that they're not any good people; there are good people from Haiti too. But he said the bad ones he don't want in there, so it's closed. So Bahamians you can't come because of association, and that is what I wanted to get to today more than anything else, Steve and Carla. That while you are sitting down allowing this to happen, it's not just going to affect you in terms of jobs, etc., in this country, hospital beds, classrooms, etc. America is already clamping down and you're not paying attention. Payments are being refused for visas all the time, but it's not making the news. People aren't talking it, but it's getting more and more difficult to get a visa to go to America in this country. And it's because I believe of what Trump said. We are mixing these people in, letting them come, get these fake documents, and bringing those fake documents over there to them. All right? And because we are sitting down being mixed up with this corruption, letting this corruption get in our country, and now it's affecting America, America is going to say, well, all y'all Bahamians got to stay because y'all letting them get Bahamian names too, so we don't know the difference. Since you all want them turned into Davis and Butlers and whatever else, we don't know the difference. So now it's going to be more difficult for all of us because Bahamians are taking this too lightly. That is the biggest problem that we're going to have from all of this, my brother. The doors are going to close for us because of association.
Go again.
Gentlemen, can you imagine what a Bahamian birth certificate in Haiti would be worth today?
Oh my Lord. Plenty l'argent.
Anyone who has a legitimate Bahamian birth certificate probably shouldn't even let that be known because they're probably going to.
You got all kinds of schemers around there who then make plans on the fact that you just said that. They're then making plans.
Because the guy, anyone could take it from that person, maybe even eliminate them, and then show up and say, I'm John Joseph. How are we going to know that he's not John Joseph? He's never been in the country except as an infant, so they say. We don't know the man. We don't have any biometrics on these people.
No, sir.
We have no fingerprint. Anyone can show up and say, I'm
but
John
you know,
Joseph.
listen, my brother, they still registering people here with those things in the Nassau Guardian and the Tribune every day. We don't know who these people are with these fictitious names. They come with all kinds of names. Say, I need this, I need that. We don't know who these people are. There's no vetting process.
And Steve, you know what the vexing problem with that name change situation is?
And we're going to end that when we become the government.
When you look at the fact that Don Sanders was executed by two Haitian nationals, the girl who was raped and murdered was according to the news, was the fellow who was charged with that was a Haitian national. The Haitians, how many more of them are killing us with Bahamian names, and we don't know that they are Haitian? That's why the government is allowing this, because they know if we knew how many Haitians were killed or murdering Bahamian citizens, it wouldn't go over so well. But if he has a name like John Seymour, we assume it's a Bahamian who did the murder. But of course, very likely, in many of those cases, these are people who have changed their names.
Precisely so. Well, we're going to have to do some things about it. I don't know what we're going to actually do, but I know that we can start by making the election procedure one that is going to be beneficial to the Bahamian people. And so people must start thinking now. Start thinking, get the lead out, do the right thing.
We need to stop that process of allowing them to change their names willy-nilly, because because they're hiding among us, and the criminals are hiding among us, and we don't know who they are. Thank you for taking my call, Steve.
Thank you, sir.
So Lincoln, keep up the good work, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, my brother. To be clear, there will be no deed polls or name changes for any foreigner in this country. Bahamians can change their name to whatever they want to. If you're an organic Bahamian, you can change your name. That's your right. But if you are a foreigner, you will not be allowed to change your name in this country. The Tribune also talked about a certain type of discrimination. You know, if you're just saying that certain people can't get work permits, etc., and you're targeting a certain group of people, that is nonsense. The government can decide that they don't want more people from a certain country. America does it. They can say, Trump did it. He said, listen, no Muslims are coming in this country right now because of the situation that we're in. They can determine that we allow Bahamians to come with a police record, but Jamaicans can't. That's their right as a country. They can do that. And we can do the same thing. So for those asking me for advice, I think you need to go and ask for advice, not from your editor, but go get legal advice.
Yeah.
All right? Or just go and learn history or learn the law. But we are going to get this right. Bahamas Air will not be used to bring customers for politicians anymore, for bringing people who have to buy papers. And we will not send persons back on Bahamas Air anymore. You're going on boat. You come on boat, you're going on boat.
Hard copy, how are you?
Hey, what's going on, Steve?
I'm good.
Hey, Lincoln, what's going on, man?
Right here, my brother.
Yo, it's a loud up. Yay, Lincoln, I like what you're saying, bro. But I want to throw something because I bought to vote for you. You see what I'm saying? Came back, so now I back, and there's a lot of little things that happen when I was coming back from Atlanta, but I ain't going to go to all of them. But pay attention. I was listening because it's good to know your enemy. You can't try trying to say it's really good to know your enemy. Humans, if you don't believe these two sides were trying to appear like they're different. One telling you, stop changing government because whatever agenda they got, you want to allow them to finish. Think about that. A murderer just shoot you and you live. And he telling you, okay, send him to jail so I can go finish you off. You feel what I said? The next one who was plotting the murder tell you, give me a chance so that I can finish murder you. I just put it in that form to pay attention that good. Did anybody speak on both sides on immigration and debt?
No.
Think about it. Did anybody on both sides speak on it? I talk about no plan. I talk about in debt. Let me show you what happened when I was coming across. I was talking to a so-called Haitian behemoth. Sound just like me, look just like me, dress just like me, but really we had a big conversation. The next guy would join into the conversation was so-called of a Haitian descent. You know who started that rumor saying we is behemoth but of Haitian descent? Do you all ever find out where that come from? Because only one grade of people would say that. Guy asked me, who can stop us? Name one person. And I tell you this when I come back, name one person who can stop us now. Think about what I said. And the fellow who was accompanying from me, he's getting deported. Think about what I just said. The fellow was accompanying, because when I stopped over from Atlanta, I had to stop in Florida to my connection. I'm just sitting down because then he's watching it on to the airport and whatnot. Because I always try $20 use Steve or whatever. The guy asked me, and I sit down and I pause and I look at this guy. He asked me who can stop it because now, here's the thing, Steve, and I want you to pay attention because I can bring this to block me, but I glad Lincoln there. He was focusing on Article 7, and I keep telling him, I say, look here, to more to the Constitution than just Article 7. He say, no. You notice this now, they keep saying, my parents were Haitian, but I was born here. And then we had a right to apply, and then they just keep to that one section.
Yeah.
So and I start to think as a civilian. We ain't guys in this country. Lincoln, in a way, I hear you, but think about what I said. When I come up to school, think about what I said. They ain't scared, like, it even mix up, like, when you say it now, okay, my daddy was a beam and my mother probably was a Haitian. He's saying, now that they born, it's like a process because nobody really going through, like, the formality, something like blackmail, but they had to stick on with this man. He opened my eyes even deeper than blackmail. This man say, when they born, they going through the system. That meaning they break the law. If you look at it, 99% of them were coming to this country. I even talk about Fulan, people who in their 60s, 99% of Haitian break into this country. I don't care if you all call them old Haitian, they came in the wrong way. And their children got rewarded. And it never stopped, and they start evolving. So now it's so much of them they telling you. But nobody paid attention to that until he said that. He said that the two parents, Haitian now, when they have their kids. We ain't doing nothing about that. All you all focusing on is saying, okay, when you come over, no. That's why I keep saying the danger and Pentad to me is, and the danger because they got one on the F&M side, and they got one on the PLP side. Now here's the danger to me. They could come to you and tell you Felipe or whatever he is legit. His two parents came in the wrong way. Even if you say you have a right to apply, if that's a danger to the country, then take that article over the Constitution. And I'm saying to you, Lincoln, don't ease up because not only do people feel they understand, they almost view you like a Trump-like figure. Because when I was talking to him, that one would want to take it all in. I said, okay. This man reach across the ball.
They got Lincoln targeted.
Yeah, they boy on this side because he talk about Braves, like him and Braves as cousins. And he talking about on another side, like him and Pentad Coon.
Yeah.
So
But this other fella named Lincoln.
He got that brain, he got that Trump like sound over here. So something going on. So when and I can maybe on this, the mom tell me, okay, I say, so your two parents said they are to, I say, even if you apply, that ain't say you would get it or whatnot. He said that ain't the point. Name one person would ever be rejected. And they even called me and he said from 1960 something, he said, name one person from my parents' days would you see the child never got the citizenship, even though your country knows wrong. He said, man, what type of people you is? I said, but I said, tell him, if you calling me stupid and here, both of us get locked up in America. You get what I'm trying to say? Anyway. When I look at it, we are super people because we sit down and not paying attention to what they paying attention to. Think about what I'm saying. Trust me, every nation, they get to the country and they kids now have kids that have kids. You think you only saying, oh, well, nobody can naturalize Lincoln. I ain't saying I trying to ban you. But I saying pay attention to that Article 7 and that thing what he say to me. Name one person from way back in the 60s that had kids that break into the country that ever get denied or you see, look at Louis. He got no ties to this country.
Yeah, we gotta run. We have to run. I hear what you're saying. All right, all the best. I appreciate your thought. Hot Copy, how are you?
Good afternoon. Gotta put on speaker.
It's on speaker.
Volume. Hold on, we can't hear you.
Can you speak up? It's on speaker.
Yeah, now we can hear you better.
Okay, great. Okay, let me just recap what I was saying. Let me just say, Steve, congratulations on having this conversation. This is one that we all are very concerned with this immigration situation here in the Bahamas in particular. Lincoln, you are so right when you made the reference to how America probably looking at the Bahamas now in terms of this migration, persons having our documents, we should not be having them,
also how they use the Bahamas as a shipment, as a trans point from Haiti to the Bahamas, having our documents then go to the United States, create havoc over there, changing their names, put a black eye back on the Bahamas, then ship back here to the Bahamas to come problem solves here, and we are left holding the bag. This is a national security issue of the highest extent. And nobody in the current administration, and I'm praying to God that persons in both the opposition is taking this matter very seriously, because now we're talking about we're putting the Bahamas on a very perilous course for what's up ahead. You know, I told someone today, the irony of this whole thing is, could you imagine America decides to move the pre-clearance lounge from the airport and all the other ports that go that allow we as Bahamians rightfully to travel to the United States? Could you imagine what that does to the Bahamas then? And you know, people will say, "Oh, but don't say that over the airways because you give them ideas." But the bottom line here is, we have to think and discuss these things.
Absolutely. I
The
appreciate.
internationals that come here, if they come the right way, and Lincoln, I can tell you this, those Haitians are very aware of what our laws are all about, our immigration laws. Because if they weren't, then they would not come here illegally using the means that they do. So they are very much aware. And then to those who aid and abet, the Bahamians who aid and abet in this activity, they need to be tried for treason. Because that is what it is, and it's on the books. All our major categories of punishment on the books. The Bahamas might as well just take the book and throw it away, because we are not using them. And that goes for the politician who's serving in our parliament, straight down to the bottom, to the small man. We need to take this matter very seriously.
I appreciate it.
I close on this point. And just about everything going wrong in this country, it centers around with the immigration situation as it pertains here. Because I believe that if we could get the immigration situation sorted out, half of the negativity that we have in this country, if not three-quarters of it, we could eliminate overnight. But it takes people with willpower, people with determination, and people that really love this country and God to get the job done. So Lincoln, continue the great work. We are listening to you and all of the other patriots in this country that loves this country, and that's fix the Bahamas. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you very kindly.
I want to read this, Steve. I think it's very important
Please hold.
that Bahamians hear this. This is the law, all right? And this is their fraudulent Bahamas Nationality Act, but this is the law that they're going by. We could fix this when we get in. But this is presently the law. And this is what they're using to give citizenships, right? Naturalization. I want to read this.
Yes, go
All
ahead.
right, it's important. Because if you receive citizenship through naturalization, it can be taken away. And there's section 11 that talks about the deprivation of citizenship. So let me read this to people like Frankie Florida and Luby Georges, who feel that Bahamians are less than them now, that Bahamians are dumb and stupid, and that they should go out of this country with a book that I have right here in front of me, lying on the Bahamian people, lying on the Bahamian people. I carry this with me to remind me every day, to inspire me to keep going. Steve, I carry this book with me everywhere to remind me why we must fight for this one nation. Why Pinland said, if we don't, Bahamians aren't prepared to fight and defend their own Bahamas, then they don't deserve to have it. This reminds me, just pintard them. So y'all can vote out for them as much as y'all want. But this pintard them. Pintard Fred Smith and Louis Georges. This book that lied on our immigration officers, showed little girls beaten and battered and bruised as if the immigration officers did that to them. Look, this girl was in a car accident. They put this picture in here to make it look like that's what immigration officers did to her. I carry this book with me, and that's what keeps me going. It's one of the things. Let me read this. I have to read this. It's section 11. So if you didn't know, you see Trump taking citizenships away from persons who convicted the crimes? Listen to this. Section 11. Subject to the revisions of this section, the minister may, at his discretion, the minister, which will be me, may at his discretion, by order, deprive of his citizenship any citizen of the Bahamas who is by such virtue of who is such by virtue of Article 3, 3, or 4 of the Constitution, or by registration or naturalization. If the minister is satisfied that the registration or certificate of naturalization was obtained by means of fraud, so we have a right in law already to,
Fraud.
if you got it by fraud, false representation, or concealment of any material fact.
Mhm.
You see me coming.
They got the mayor in Florida just like that the other day.
And so it says, subsection 2, subject to the provisions of this section, the minister may, at his discretion, by order, deprive of his citizenship any citizen of the Bahamas who is such by registration or naturalization. That means you can't take the citizenship of me who was born a Bahamian. But if someone got it naturalized, the minister can take
Absolutely.
their citizenship if the minister is satisfied, not the courts, the minister is satisfied that he has, one, at any time after registration or naturalization, been convicted of the offense of treason by a competent court in any Commonwealth country, anyone, or convicted by a competent court in any country of a criminal offense on the conviction of which the death penalty or a term of imprisonment of not less than 7 years may be imposed, and has not received a free pardon in respect of the offense. 2, within 5 years after registration or naturalization, been convicted by a competent court in any country of a criminal offense and sentenced therefore to imprisonment for a term of not less than 12 months. So if you do a year over, you can take it. And has not received a free pardon in respect of the offense. Number 3, has sown, this is very important, listen carefully. Someone tag Luby and tag Frankie. Tag Brave Davis. Shown himself by act or speech to be disloyal or disaffected towards the Bahamas. Not just commit a crime, you know. If by your actions you look like you ain't loyal to the Bahamas,
Send you.
or by speech, or you are disaffected, if you feel we dumb, if you feel you smarter than us, if you feel we no good and lazy, then the law says you go home. Even if you have citizenship through naturalization.
Some heavy stuff in that.
They talk about also during wartime being not loyal, all right? But I'm going to skip to the last one. Engaged in activities, whether within or outside of the Bahamas, which are prejudicial
Prejudicial, right?
to the Bahamas, to the safety,
It's all
or
around.
to maintenance of law and public order in the Bahamas. They can take your citizenship. One more thing I want you to understand when they talk about who can get citizenship, because some people think they have a right to citizenship because they might have grown up in Haiti, so they don't speak English good, etc., etc. This is the law, the same law they going by. Qualifications for registration or naturalization. It says what qualifies you. How much time you must be here. Just know that after 8 years, they can get their citizenship. So, not this election, but the next election, we can be outnumbered if the COI doesn't get in. But number C of this one says that he is in the opinion. So, in order to get naturalization, you must be in the opinion of the minister to be of good character. Of good character. Someone who goes on the radio or sends out voice notes talking bad about him, they might not be of good character in the opinion of the minister.
Exactly.
So you shouldn't get that. So even if you are not of good character, you could be born here to 2 foreign parents, and so you could have a right to apply. But when you apply, if the government says that you are not of good character, you can't get it. That's one thing. The same say if you was arrested, the same say is convicted. If they feel you're not a good character to be in the Bahamas. Next, D, it says that he has sufficient, that the person must have sufficient knowledge of the English language and the responsibilities of a citizen of the Bahamas. So you must be able to speak the English language. So, yes, you were born here, but being born here doesn't make you a citizen. Okay? It gives you the right to apply if your parents are foreign.
That's all it does.
To make this clear, I don't, they're trying to make it seem like we hate Haitians and that kind of stuff. No, we want law and order. We don't want the Bahamas to turn into Haiti, and corruption is what turned Haiti into that. Selling out for filthy lucre turned Haiti into that.
Well, my friend, our time is come and gone, 19 past 7 o'clock. And it's been a good one. And this is one for the records. And anybody who's listened to this tape should keep this tape and keep it close to them all the time. Remind yourself of what has happened here today.
Steve, there's one more important thing that we need to touch on, and that is someone made a statement about Brave and them saying that they accomplished 320 something of the 380 something stuff that they promised, and that they should be allowed to finish what they started. Well, the thing is, show me what you started, and then I could probably let you finish. But they're not starting anything. And so when they played with words, and they always play with words, they said they have completed. I put their blueprint for change in AI, and I said, AI, show us what the PLP has accomplished. They accomplished less than 1% of those things, but they have a practice of doing shovel in the ground.
Yes, that's a big thing.
So they said 320 of the things they have accomplished, or it's in progress. That's the word they use. So they trick you. In progress means a shovel in the ground. That's in progress. That could mean anything. That means they passed the law towards doing it, but it's not done. It's in progress. That's nonsense. It's a trick. They're playing with words because this is a failed administration. Just like the last F&M government was a failed administration. And the next F&M government, if God curses us to allow them to be the government of this country, will be a failed administration. But we are going to get this country in order, Steve.
You have to.
You're going to come here and come here the right way. We're not against foreigners. We need you to come and work for us. You need to come to this country and work for us. We need help building the New Bahamas. But you're going to come the right way.
So you want to continue? You want to keep it in and finish what you're talking about?
That's it. I'm good. I just wanted to say that part of it. That, excuse me, that this government has accomplished nothing.
Understood.
Just like the F&M government accomplished nothing. And it's time for the Bahamas to get a fresh start. It's time for change.
I appreciate it, my friend. Thank you so much for being here today. It's been a very, very enlightening program today because you discussed almost everything that we wanted to talk about today. And I believe that people are a little bit more enriched because of the many things that you talked about today, very, very fluently, very, very easily, and because you make sense. That's what it is. So we thank you very much for the situation today here on Hard Copy Live. It's Monday, the 13th day of April 2026. It's now 7:22 in the afternoon, so we're going to take a break from here.
And we have a prayer conclave that starts at 7:30. And so anyone who wants to join us, the prayer is important.
That's where it's going to be.
It's right at our national headquarters in Chippenham. You can Google our national headquarters and get the driving directions there. Okay. But we have a prayer conclave that starts at 7:30. So we've been praying every month for 7 months.
You must fast and pray.
Yes. And so if you want to be a part of that, this is a spiritual war that we're fighting also. You need more than money, etc. Oh, and if you need t-shirts, I saw some funny stuff going around there. We've given out thousands of t-shirts. I don't know. I guess there's so much people want our t-shirts. But the next shipment, the shipment last. And so tomorrow you can come to our Pinewood headquarters or our national headquarters and get a t-shirt. All right. Elections isn't about t-shirts. It's about saving our nation.
Thank you so much. That's our show for today. And we thank you so much for being a part of our show.
Thank you all for tuning in. Join us for our prayer conclave if you want to. It's at 7:30. That's an important part of what we're doing also. So you're welcome to come and join us for this. I forgot to mention on the radio that this coming Friday we're going to be hitting the streets and we're going to be in the Carmichael Road area, I think in the Golden Gates area, and we're going to do our live broadcast, our COI live show. We're going to do it from there. Okay, so come out and be a part of it. Everybody come out. That's what we're gonna do. We're not doing this the old way, the way they normally do it, with their rallies and all that kind of stuff. We're gonna do this intelligently, and we're gonna do this where we have conversations so you could know what it is we plan to do, and you could come out and show your support and show them that you're serious. We're gonna post the location, etc., on our social media platform. So just be ready for that. All right. So God bless all of you. We're doing this because we love you and we love our country. And who have a problem with that, we can't help you. We love our one Bahamas. See you next.